Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing with Lesson 8, and this is your read aloud. We're going to start reading about the nervous system and the brain. So I want you to listen to find out about the different parts of the brain, why those parts are important, and I want you to listen and think of any questions that you might have still about the brain after we've done the read aloud. So here we go. Hi, I've got lots of fascinating facts to share with you today, so I'm hoping that my brain is in good working order. There's a lot to remember. Raise your hand if you have a brain. Hopefully you're all sitting at home right now with your hand up. Whew, I'm glad your hand went up. Yes, of course you have a brain. All vertebrates have brains. Who remembers what else all vertebrates have? Do you remember? A backbone. You know that you have a backbone. You've been testing out those wonderfully flexible spines that support your bodies and protect your spinal cords. You've learned that your nervous system is a complex network with two essential organs. Your spinal cord, right here, and your brain, right there. Your spinal cord is connected to your brain by the brain stem, and that's right in here, that little tiny stem at the bottom of your brain. Your spinal cord is connected to your brain by the brain stem, the central trunk of the brain. Think of a tree trunk, it's the central part. Your brain itself is very soft, but it is well protected by your cranium or brain case. This strong eggshell-shaped part of your skull is formed from 8 interlocking bones wedged together like the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Inside your skull, your brain floats in a clear liquid that cushions it and keeps it from banging against your skull. Your brain is covered in grooves and folds, resembling a huge walnut. About the size of a cantaloupe or a grapefruit, this jelly-like pinkish-gray blob has blood vessels running all through its wrinkled mass. They carry oxygen, water, and other important nutrients to the brain. Why does our brain float in that clear liquid? That's right, so it doesn't bang against our skull. The brain, when fully grown, weighs about 3 pounds. That may seem pretty small and light for such a big body, but humans have larger brains than animals when compared with their body size. So even though the brains of elephants and whales are actually larger than human brains, their brains are smaller than ours compared with the enormous size of their bodies. There are 3 main sections of the brain. They are the brain stem, right down here at the bottom, the cerebrum, and the cerebral cortex, which is right up here. That's the part responsible for voluntary things. And then the cerebellum down here. Each part of the brain has an important function. Your brain stem, right down here, about as thick as your thumb, is approximately 3 inches long. It helps to relay messages between your brain and spinal cord. The bottom third of your brain stem, the part that blends into the top of your spinal cord, is called the medulla. The medulla is responsible for many of your body's involuntary or automatic movements, muscle movements. The medulla makes sure that your lungs are receiving oxygen by controlling your breathing and making sure your heart is beating. The medulla helps you swallow and break down the food in your digestive system. So the nervous system and the digestive system are interconnected. The medulla controls your coughs and sneezes and hiccups, as well as your sleeping and dreaming. It also controls the movement of your head and neck. Wow, that's a really important part of our brain, isn't it? The cerebrum, right up here, is the largest part of your brain, filling the whole upper part of your skull. Language, memory, thought, sensations, and decision-making are housed in your cerebrum. Your cerebrum is the thinking brain, and the part of the cerebrum that does most of the thinking is called the cerebral cortex. Your cortex is deeply wrinkled outer surface of the cerebrum. The more that it is used, the thicker it becomes. In other words, people who use their brains to think a lot develop thicker cortexes. Do you think your cortex is getting any thicker? It is. You're learning a lot each day. So our brain is like a muscle. We're building and strengthening that brain every day when we're learning. Let's look more closely at the cerebrum. The cerebrum is divided into two halves or hemispheres. The two hemispheres of the brain, the left hemispheres and the right hemispheres, are linked to one another by thick nerve fibers. Interestingly, the nerves that connect your cerebrum to the rest of your body cross over to the opposite side as they enter your brain. This means that each hemisphere largely controls the muscles of the opposite side of the body. Place your left hand on your head and wave your right arm. The left side of your cerebrum controls the muscles on the right side of your body. Now place your right hand on your head and wave your left arm. The right side of your cerebrum controls muscles on the left side of your body. One hemisphere is more developed than the other in most people. If you use the right side of your body more, that is, you kick with your right foot and you hold your pencil in your right hand, the left hemisphere is dominant or in control. It is the left hemisphere that is mostly associated with language, math, and reading. If, however, you use the left side of your body more, that's me, I'm left-handed, that is, you kick with your left foot and you hold your pencil in the left hand, the right hemisphere is dominant. The right hemisphere is mostly associated with imagination, music, and shapes. So which hemisphere of your brain do you think is more dominant for you? The third part of the brain, in addition to the brainstem and the cerebrum, is called the cerebellum, meaning little brain. And you can see the arrows pointing to it on either side, our cerebellum. Tucked under your cerebrum in the back of your brain, your cerebellum resembles your cerebrum with two hemispheres of its own. Your cerebellum is the control center for balance and coordination. It is constantly adjusting the way your body moves. As you practice any physical activity such as dancing, your cerebellum receives messages about your body's actions and positions. It sends commands back to your muscles, adjusting your movements. As your cerebellum gradually becomes more accurate in its corrections, you begin to notice improvements in your dancing or whatever activity you are trying to perfect. For example, if you have learned to ride a bike, chances are you didn't master it all at once. It took practice. Your cerebellum was in charge of your balance and coordination, making small adjustments with each improvement until you could pedal quickly and furiously on your own without even thinking about it. Let's try an experiment to demonstrate what the cerebellum does. Close your eyes and reach your arms out to your sides so your body makes the shape of a T like this. Okay? Slowly bring your arms forward, touching the fingertips together. You may open your eyes now. Was that easy for you? Your cerebellum coordinated your movements for you. If you damaged your cerebellum, you would not be able to do this simple exercise. No matter how hard you tried, your hands would jerk around without any control. So think about, how would your life be different if you didn't have the cerebellum to help you with that balance and coordination? Now let's put all the parts of your brain together. Look at this picture of the brain. See if you can identify the three parts. The brain stem, right here. The cerebrum, this main part. And the cerebellum, right down here. Did you get it? I bet you did. I'm going to ask you 3 riddles to test your knowledge and see how well your brain is working. Ready? I am the largest part of the brain, divided into 2 hemispheres. I am sometimes called the thinking brain. What am I? If you said cerebrum and pointed up here, you are correct. Here's another one. I am only 3 inches long, but without me, the spinal cord would not be connected to the brain. One of my parts is called the medulla. What am I? Did you say brainstem and point down here? You're correct. I look a lot like the cerebrum with 2 hemispheres of my own, but I am much smaller. Without me, you would not be able to balance on one leg. What am I? If you said cerebellum and pointed down here, you are correct. Great job. Your brain is not very big, and yet it is more powerful than the strongest computer ever created. Think about that. All other systems of the body are dependent upon this complex 3-pound organ that lives inside your skull. Your brain is the center of your memory, thoughts, and feelings. Your brain is in command of your whole body. When your brain stops working, the rest of your body will stop working as well. Well, I think I remembered everything I wanted to tell you today. Next time, we'll look inside your skulls some more to see what else is tucked away within those bones in addition to the brain. See you then. Thanks for listening, boys and girls.